What's going on, everybody? Sean here, and welcome back to another edition to my Monarch Legacy of Monsters reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 10, Where We Belong, directed by Lawrence Trilling, with a teleplay by Joe Pokaski, and story by Andrew Colville. Well, this is it, the Season 2 finale, and what an ending. This is easily the best episode of the season, and probably the best episode of the series. Some of my predictions were true, but there was also some areas where it genuinely surprised me. Plus, the way the season ended was on a very exciting final review, which I can't wait to talk about and see what they have planned next in regards to the way the show ends. So with that being said, let's recap the episode like I normally do and go into my final thoughts on this episode and the season overall in general. So the episode opens up with Lee and Keiko being chased by these creatures known as stampede caterpillars. They even take shelter in one of the crashed helicopters from Kong Skull Island. A nice little Easter egg. I did appreciate seeing some of the new creatures, and this also helps with my previous complaint with the last episode about how empty Skull Island had seemed compared to beforehand. Anyways, after avoiding the creatures, they discover the helicopter that was making the skullcrawler sounds that had rage-baited Kong, and they decide to follow it. Along the way, Keiko mentions how she made a recording of Titan X communicating to Kate, while Lee also tells her the truth about how he was able to communicate to his younger self. This leads to one of my favorite moments in the episode, where Keiko gets angry at him for not making the selfish choice in saving her early. She brings up how things could have been a bit different and that she could have been there for her son. But Lee's response is that there's a lot of couldas, and he made the choice knowing that he would save her in the end. He made the guaranteed safe option, because like you said, there's a lot of couldas. I like how well composed Lee is in this situation, even with her anger directed towards him. I think deep down she knows that he made the right choice, but given how much she has lost, it hurts regardless. After this, Lee and Keiko soon catch up with Tim and May's group, who had commandeered some vehicles from Isabel's team. Also, I want to point out that Tim had mentioned there being an incident in the 90s about a failed Monarch operation involving skull crawlers and some sunscreen. Not sure what this is regarding, maybe a loose connection to Skull Island, The Birth of Kong, or the Skull Island anime perhaps. I'm not exactly sure. Could be just a simple gag. Anyway, so if the group's reunited, the plan is for Shaw to take the recording Keiko made and use it to lure Titan X to the rift after taking the helicopter that was being used to make the skullcrawler sounds from earlier, while the others go to try and rescue Kate and Kentaro and stop the whole synaptic link thing on Titan X. Speaking of those two, Kentaro has Kate locked up when she disagrees with his plan to go into Access Monday to save their father. I should also point out that Isabel mentions being afraid of her father finding out about what they're doing with Monarch after them. Kentaro even pushes the synaptic link to its limits, making Titan X way more aggressive for its fight with Kong. Kate then manages to escape the room she was being held in, only to end up in the worst spot possible, right in front of Titan X, who has been affected by what Isabel's team is doing. From here, we finally get the big showdown between Kong and Titan X. The fight sequence is pretty exciting, with both Titans feeling pretty evenly matched. There's a nice showcasing of their various fighting moves, and there's an added tension of Keiko trying to rescue Kate in the middle of the fight, which is pretty exciting too. There's even a small blinking you'll miss moment where Kong saves Kate and Keiko from being crushed, showing how even during the fight he is still there to look out for everyone. Eventually the synaptic link is disrupted once Titan X manages to find her egg, which calms her down, proving how strong her will is as a mother. She even shows it to Kong, who immediately understands and lets her walk free. I really did Kong's characterization here. He understands she was just defending her egg and realizes she's not truly a malevolent Titan. Plus, if you want to go a little deeper, maybe Kong remembers what happens to his parents back in the day as they fought to the death to protect him from the skullcrawlers and doesn't want to see another creature experience the loss that he did. After the fight, Kate goes after Kentaro, who decides to leave with Isabel, as Kate goes with the others to try and help lead Titan X to the rift after his brain was kind of messed up from the whole thing with Isabel's team and what it had done to her. Given Kate's close connection with Titan X, they do manage to lead her back to the rift. Then in one of my favorite moments, Kate and Titan X share a quiet moment together where Kate reaches out and touches her. Titan X shows appreciation towards Kate for helping her find her way back home. It's a warm and tender moment, and I feel like this is also the moment where Kate as a character is finally able to move on from her past guilt and trauma and embrace being part of Monarch. I love it when the Monsterverse gives us these type of moments between humans and Titans. There's something beautiful about it. I also need to mention the music in this scene. I don't think I brought it up in the season so far, but the score by Leopold Ross has been excellent, and it really helps to enhance a lot of the emotional moments this season. So after Titan X goes home, we finally get the scene I had predicted in the last video, where we finally get to see Kurt and Wyatt share the screen together. The younger Lee Shaw sees his older self in the rift, and although they can't hear each other, they do see one another, and Keiko actually gets to say goodbye to the younger Lee. It's a beautiful goodbye, and they each get that much needed closure, so that way they can finally start to heal and move on. We also get to see Kong let out one last triumphant roar before we jump ahead 6 weeks weeks later to see that Kate and Keiko have now fully become a part of Monarch as part of the team alongside May and Tim under Director Barris with the task of tracking down Isabel and Kentaro and keeping knowledge of Access Monday under wraps, which would explain why it hasn't been brought up in the MonsterVerse stuff beforehand. Then after this, the season ends with Lee Shaw tracking down Kentaro and Isabel on his own. He makes his way to Thailand, and in the best surprise this season, we get the return of Rodan, who Lee says, "I'll see you soon," thus ending the episode and the season in general. I was super happy to see Rodan make a return to the MonsterVerse. I honestly didn't expect it, but it was a very welcome surprise, especially since it has been 7 years since Rodan last appeared in the series, not counting stock footage used during the Godzilla vs. Kong opening credits. I'm not sure if this is the same Rodan from King of the Monsters or perhaps another one like how there were two in the original film, since Rodan in King of the Monsters was supposed to be lying dormant this whole time. I guess we'll find out another point in time. Either way, it was an awesome way to end the season. Monarch does a really great job when it comes to their season finales. Just like in the first season, the best episode of season 2 was indeed the final episode. It had great action, was paced well, music was excellent, and it managed to pull on the heartstrings when it needed to. I do think that season 2 was an overall improvement over season 1. Sure, not every aspect was amazing, and I have a few questions, such as where in the hell were the Iwi this season? They just never shouldn't even referenced on the island. I mean, shouldn't they be there or something? But there was definitely a lot to love this season for sure. There's a lot more monster action this time around, and I felt the character work was a bit stronger. Titan X, or Kokai, made for a great addition to the Monsterverse, a misunderstood monster with a unique connection to Kate. I hope to see her return one day, either in the films or another season of the show. Could make for a good heroic ally for the other monsters. In terms of the characters that stood out this season, Lee Shaw was once again the MVP, even though I still wasn't a fan of the whole cheating angle. Both Kurt and Wyatt once again do an excellent job portraying him, and I'm very excited for that upcoming Lee Shaw spin-off show. Lee Shaw still remains the best human character within the Monsterverse. Tim was also a standout for me this season. He really began to step up as a leader and could be funny without being annoying. He strikes that right balance. Some of the other characters did improve this season. May, who was one of the weaker aspects last season, was a lot more likable this time around. Kate also improved as a character too, with her emotional connection to Titan X being what helped anchor the season. Keiko was once again really solid, and it was neat seeing her interact with both the stuff in the past and in the present. Billy was good too, and I think this season also helped to recontextualize a lot of Kong Skull Island and help me to see that movie in a new light. Hiroshi was also a little better this season, given he had more screen time, but I didn't really shed any tears over the guy when he died. Then finally there was Kentaro, who just became more and more unlikable as the season went on. I guess now that he's working with Isabel, we'll have to wait and see what they do with his character for the next season, assuming there is one, which I think there will be. But they need to do a lot of work with him if they expect me to start caring what happens to him more. Also, I like the characterization we saw of both Godzilla and Kong this season a lot too. One thing I think this season did very well was the world building aspect and introducing new concepts into the Monsterverse. With Access Monday acting as a potential time machine of sorts, that could lead to some really interesting story possibilities going forward in terms of the overall Monsterverse. Maybe they'll even find a way to bring back certain characters from the past. The possibilities are endless. So let's talk about the potential direction for the next season could go in terms of its story. Based on how this season ended, Rodan will certainly play a major part. I think Isabel and Kentaro are most likely going to use Rodan as a means to open a rift into Access Monday. I also think that we'll get the return of Hiroshi next season as they head into Access Monday for whatever reason, and I could see him telling Kentaro and Kate not to save him or something along those lines, or maybe he already met them in Access Monday. It's so many questions with that. That will probably be one of the focal points of the season. It will probably have themes about letting go and not changing the past or something along those lines. I also feel like that the next season probably has to lead right into the events of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I imagine we probably get some sort of cameos from some of the Titans from that movie, or perhaps even some of the human characters. Perhaps we could see a returning Alan Jonah confronting Shaw at some point. Maybe we will find out he's been working with Isabel behind the scenes this whole time. I think that would be an interesting reveal. But there's also the Lee Shaw spin-off series, which will be releasing next, and I think that might play a part into the next season of Monarch somehow. Maybe Rodan will appear in it, because based on the ending, it seemed that Shaw recognized Rodan and that he had seen it before. There's also the factor of both Godzilla and Kong. I can't imagine them not making some sort of appearance. It's just a matter of how major a role they will play. I'm hoping we can have a bit of a time jump to the events of King of the Monsters already. The 5-year gap between that film and Godzilla vs. Kong has a lot of potential worth exploring. Plus, you wouldn't have to worry so much about Godzilla being hidden from the world so much. There's a lot of potential directions they can go in, and I can't wait to see how they are explored in a season 3, the spin-off show, and of course future movies. Next up, we got the release of Godzilla Kong Supernova, and I'm pretty hyped for that film. So with that being said, this is where our Monarch Season 2 reviews come to an end. Well, mostly. I'll post a complete season review with all the episode reveals compiled into one video like I did for Season 1. I also want to rewatch the season from start to finish, and then I can do my ranking for each episode. So look forward to that video when it drops at some point. But anyways, I had a lot of fun making these videos, talking about Season 2 this year. I am a little bummed that it's over now that I have to kind of wait a little bit for the next thing Monsterverse Monsterverse related, but I did have a really good time talking about it. Anyways, what did you all think of Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2? Do you think it's better or worse than Season 1? What would you like to see in Season 3 or the upcoming Lee Shaw spin-off show? What sort of theories do you have going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more Monsterverse content. And as always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.